Good morning and welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, where we inform, encourage, and support Christian indie writers on the journey toward publication. I'm Jennifer Carl Tong, and I write historical Christian romance.
I'm Christina Catane, and I write in multiple genres, including Christian dystopian fiction.
I'm Jamie Hirschberger. I write short fiction under the pen name J.R. Nichols.
I'm Rhonda Hagerman, and I write fiction and nonfiction and basically whatever I feel like writing under the pen name Dee Dee Bowman.
We got some chat already happening this morning. Good morning, Piper. Good to see you today. Teresa says, I'm here waiting, can't wait. This is what makes my Friday feel like a Friday.
My husband and I say Friday.
What'd you say?
My husband and I say Friday.
Aw, yay.
That's special.
Well, you guys make it feel that way for us as well. And we just really appreciate y'all being here. So big thank you to everyone who shows up at chat, everyone who comes and views us live. But we also appreciate those of you that listen to us as a podcast. And so we don't want to forget you guys either. Make sure that you subscribe, comment, leave a review, whatever you can to help support this ministry as we try to reach out to other Christian writers. You can also go over to our website and subscribe to our newsletter, which will ensure that you never miss a single episode of the podcast. Plus, you get some just lovely writing from our very own Jamie Hirschberger in that newsletter. All right, we'd like to start each episode with a segment that we call the What's Up. It's time for us to check in with each other, see what's going on with our writing and our personal lives. And today I'm going to start with Rhonda. Rhonda, what's up with you today?
Oh, let's see. Well, another beautiful day down here in Florida. And I've got a little errand run today. And then I've got some shell sorting to do later this afternoon. And maybe I'll fit some writing in there too.
Shell sorting. That sounds like very relaxing.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you like, so are buttons what you sort when you're in Michigan and shells are what you sort down there? Let's keep your lives separate. That's awesome.
She sorts seashells by the
seashore.
Yeah.
Good morning, Shell. It's nice to see you in the chat. Morning, Jason.
Jason, we were looking for you during the sprints this week, weren't we, Jen?
You weren't there, dude. We're going to send somebody rush you up at your house the next time you're not there. Good morning, Kristen.
Good morning.
Kristen's one of our new friends, has been joining us with the sprints in the early mornings too. I will go next for my What's Up. And I have a ton of things and I wasn't really sure what I was going to talk about. So I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. And I had a couple of emails from some readers this week that were responding to like my welcome sequence, but they're readers that I've had for a while. And so I couldn't figure out why they were getting their welcome sequence again. And I freaked out. I'm thinking, oh no, what if like my welcome sequence is just kind of randomly like going back out there? And so I reached out to two of them that have been really good supporters of mine. And figured out that I found a setting that I believe it was Piper that told me about. I went back and fixed it in BookFunnels so that people don't get sent my welcome videos or welcome things all over again. But all that to say is that the response from one of them was, I just had to share this because it says, all I know is that I enjoy reading your books and can't wait for the next one. God bless.
Aww.
You have no idea what that does for a writer. And as writers, you guys all know when you get something like that, it's just a little thing, right? It's just little, but it means the world. So
right, because you want to believe that people will overlook your mistakes and not just call you out for them. And that will just encourage your little heart that it's about your writing. It's awesome.
Yeah, I know. Hey, Maria, good afternoon to you. I guess I started off saying good morning and it's not morning for you there in the UK. So good afternoon, Maria.
Good to see you, Maria.
All right. Tina, how about you next? What's your What's Up?
Well, funnily enough, mine is also about a review that I got.
Oh, good.
And this one was on Amazon. And when I wrote my book, I had like a biblical message that was like the core of my book. Mm-hmm. And this reviewer said, this book makes the difference between the law and grace described in the Bible, a tangible thing.
Oh, that's a good review.
Christina skillfully shows how Christ completed the law by being the perfect sacrifice in order that humans could choose between light and darkness. And I was so excited about that review. I actually put it on my Facebook. And I said, I love it when the readers get it. Like, I didn't have to say in the book, this is what this book's about. That reader got it, and it was exciting.
I think we need to do it is connected, but I think we need to do an episode on spreading the manure. If you come to our sprints, you will know what that means. But I did the same thing. I took one of my reviews and just put it up as a post. And like, there's just so many ways that we can take things and spread them around for free, right? Without having to constantly be coming up with new content. But that's a whole nother topic. So that's funny.
It is. Maybe we can cover that because we do have some episodes coming up in the future, you guys, to help you with your productivity. Like today is just the beginning. We are going to be talking about different, online project management software you could use with teams. And so maybe that can be a part of that discussion, you guys.
Yeah, I think it really would be timely for what we're all going through.
Mm-hmm.
Teresa says, what's up? Just finished my read through of my nano novel and I moved on to tweaking writing. Wow. I'm excited because I actually really, really like what I wrote.
Oh, that's important.
That's great. Yeah. And you know what? That's uplifting to me because when people actually like the thing that they've produced, I love that. It just adds another dimension for me.
Well, Rhonda, when you taught, who was it that said manure is actually gold? Who pointed that out?
It was me.
It was you because we joke around like, oh, I'm going to take this piece of crap and spread it around. But manure is not a bad thing. So It's so funny how you might be looking at it and thinking it's something you could just throw away. But really, that's gold to a reader. So anyway, just wanted to pause there a second.
Maria says, what's up with me? It's been a couple of weeks proofreading my 3rd historical fiction novel and writing my 4th. Also, 4 women from church this week have gotten Lottie's locket for their granddaughters. Aw, that's awesome.
That's cool.
Good job.
Piper, my what's up? I've got a rough draft on my cover and am working on the blurb for the back. Book is all formatted and ready to go. That's exciting.
Yay.
Kristen says, what's up with me? Started a buy me a coffee and started a new class yesterday. Jamie, that's a great transition. I don't know what your what's up is, but that
all right.
Done recently.
Well, I think I'll make my what's up my what's next then, or my what's next my what's up, because totally a perfect segue, because I too started to buy me a coffee. I was propelled forward by our conversation with Becca Simon. She was really able to point out to me that I'm holding on to some thinking that really just doesn't serve me anymore. And part of that is the thought that people really don't want to know what's going on inside of my head, that's stuff nobody would care about. And so Jen is always encouraging me, because she is more of a connector than I would ever be, that kind of stuff is what's going to make people really care about you and love you. But I'm thinking no one wants to see that. So with that kind of spirit in mind, I forged ahead with my own Buy Me a Coffee. And to make it a little more appealing to people, I've put my work up there as extras. So if you're a member, you get to read Second Chance and Second Nature for free, as well as Help Wanted and The Mom Ran with the Moon. And I'm going to have a whole bunch of other stuff on there, plus those really private, intimate posts, such as the one that reveals my hubby's Clifton strengths, and a new post that goes live later today that says, I got a tattoo. So if you guys want to be able to read that post, you need to go over and be a member of my Buy Me a Coffee. But because I know I am loved, I have 4 gift memberships assigned to Becca Syme, Jennifer Tong, Rhonda, and Tina. Now, if you guys want to give me someone else's email address and bless them, I will give them a gift membership for 1 year to Buy Me a Coffee. But you ladies and Becca Syme get my first gifts, plus Gigi by Superfan. She got my first gift membership.
Okay, so totally have to finish this episode really fast because I need to go. You got a tattoo?
Yeah.
You will have to read the post to understand what's going on.
Ladies and gentlemen,
can I just comment?
That's going to be my what's next. So too bad for you guys.
The comment that I have is more serious. I know the tattoo thing is fun, but people who think like you and feel like they're the only ones that think like that are the people who want to read your stuff and see how you're thinking.
Oh, well, that's a really good point, Tina. Thank you. That's so encouraging.
We're all going to have different super fans. Like the 4 of us, if you've been watching us for even a minute, you're going to realize that the 4 of us are very different. different genres, different personalities. Our super fans are going to be different because the super fans are the people that connect with you. They like your books and then they connect with you, right?
Right. And
So
that's
you
what I
got to
want
be
to
who
do.
you are. Yeah.
Yes, I want to connect with those people. And in fact, I saw Kermit the Frog singing Rainbow Connection the other day, and it just reminded me that that's really who I am. Like that song and that the production value and just everything about it. I want to connect that way with people, but only on my terms, if that makes sense. I'm kind of like a cat. I run and hide under the bed. I only come out once in a while. So if you want to see what I have to say, you're going to have to come looking for it. Sorry.
I'm like a puppy. What you doing? What you doing? Can I come in? I want to be part of that. All right.
Can I point out just real quick? Can we bask in the glow of that amazing hook that Jamie just laid out for us?
Oh,
I mean, is there anybody out there that hook did not work on?
I was like, wait, we don't even know her husband's Clifton strengths. She's like giving it out to other people.
I know. Right?
Listen, you guys have to send me the right email address so I don't hook you up with the wrong thing. So, Shell.
Okay. Shell says, what's up? I'm working this month's short story. It's a little slow. Jason, what's up? I figured out several side characters for my book. Also wrote 800 words in a 25-minute sprint. Jason puts a lot of words out in sprints when he shows up. Let's see. Kristen says, if Jennifer vanishes, we know why. Oh, because because I'm off like on her buy a coffee. All right. And Piper says, I had to check out this buy a coffee thing. Okay.
It's just like Patreon, and but you might prefer Patreon depending on if you want to do merch and tiers. There's a difference. You're going to have to Google the differences and make a choice for yourself.
Yep. Okay, great. So Kristen says, I missed it. Send it to you on which platform? I think you're talking about the buy a coffee thing. You got to go there, right? Right,
I
Jamie?
don't know what she's asking for.
I don't know. Okay. Well, we could chat all day with you guys. You know that. But if we don't stop right now, we're going to end up not doing our topic. And it's a great topic I'm very excited about. This week's topic is the top 10 tips for productivity. And we talked about this a while back, actually, that we'd like to do the top 10 things or top 12 or whatever. And at first, when we first started talking about it, Tina and I are like, yeah, we got it. And the other two were like, But then once we got talking about it, you realize you do have your own productivity tips, right? There are things that you do. So I will go through and I will list, I guess I am supposed to say each of them, Rhonda. I misspoke earlier. I'm going to say the tips. They're in no particular order, and then we'll discuss. How's that work? Sound good?
Yes, but I need directions. So you're going to say one and then I'm talking, or you're going to say them all and then I'm talking?
Nope. I'm going to say one and we'll stop and talk about it.
Great.
Yes, we did plan this.
I know, but I forget.
No, I'm not saying you, me. Like I'm like feeling like I'm very spastic right now.
Am I sure?
I'm on my third cup of coffee.
We should not have allowed that last coffee trip.
Right.
But they're half calves. So before it was like, so this is actually.
It's only 1.5 cups of coffee.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Right. All right. Our number one or first top 10 tip for productivity is keep office hours.
Yes.
Definitely. If I hadn't kept office hours for the last 2 years, my book would still be languishing somewhere in a pile of to be dones.
Yes. For those of you that don't know what office hours are, we do have one or two podcasts. If you go back and look through our old podcasts, there's on office hours. But the ladies and I have set hours that we show up and we do virtual meetings. And sometimes we're just silent. We have each other muted and we're working, but it's there. We see each other. We have chat time. We have the water cooler time, but then we get busy and work too. And that's, again, I'm like Tina. I would not be this far in my career if I didn't have that accountability and didn't like show up every day doing that.
Mm-hmm. For sure. The office hours concept is sort of so to put now that everybody kind of works from home, it's not as poignant and insightful as it used to be. But at the time we were like, if we had a real job, we would be going to an office and committing a certain amount of time to our work. And so we just decided that we wanted to do that in our homes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Piper says, wow, imagine Jen on 3 cups of real coffee. She'd be sprinkling glitter and rainbows all over the office. That's awesome. All right. Our second tip is use binaural beat music.
Mm.
So, which of you ladies introduced me to this idea? Do you remember, or was it me? I think I heard it on a podcast.
I think it was you.
Okay,
Oh, I
so
thought it was Rhonda. Okay, go
there's
ahead.
an app that you could buy, and it's very expensive. So we were on retreat, our very first retreat, and I had tried the app out and I liked it, but then my free thing was up. So Jamie, I believe, says, "Well, look it up on YouTube." And sure enough, there are hundreds of videos on YouTube with like pictures, and sometimes they're like distracting. Sometimes it's just like landscape or whatever. But there is something about it, and you need to wear headphones. You put it on, and there's something about the beat of the music that just gets you into your writing sprint. So that's one of my favorite things. And we use them when we do our writing sprints.
And by the way, Rhonda, I don't know if you know this, but I found one specifically for people with ADHD the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'll send you the link.
Please do.
Teresa says, yes, in January, I read and analyzed 5 chores, started my live stream, which is how I'm putting my office hours to work. Yeah, so that's the live streams I do. That's my office hours too. I just do them live with you guys so that you know I'm accountable. Yep. Shell says, I found Chill Step on YouTube and I love it while writing and reading. I'll have to check that out. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, because music, binaural beats or whatever is a bonus. But if you can sort of train yourself to work to particular music, I know that I get very productive to 100.3 out of Detroit because that's the music that was always on the radio when I was a admin in an office. And so like turning on that channel will get me kind of in the mood to work. It's a little bit strange. So if you're not into the binaural stuff, just put on your favorite productivity or workout music and get busy.
Right.
When I was in college and I took theories of personality, part of the semester, I think it's second semester, was talking about memory and how we process memory. And so, like, if you are a student and you want to study for a test, you want your environment to be as close to where you're going to be taking the test as possible.
Yeah.
If you're going to suck on a piece of candy, make it the same flavor every time, or a piece of gum or whatever, and your brain will automatically pull out that file when you're taking the test that you would, because you're doing the same thing you were doing when you were studying.
Yeah.
And I think it carries over. If you listen to the same music every time you write, whether it's binaural or whatever, your brain is going to say, oh, it's time to write. I have a playlist of Toby Mac that it was my workout playlist. And every time I hear it, I want to go work out. So
how do you keep yourself from drooling?
Drooling?
Yeah, like Pavlov's dogs.
I don't understand the question.
I don't either.
There's an operation for it, Rhonda, and a medication. They'll give you a script.
Oh, okay. All right, great.
So as a
I don't know
former
why
teacher,
we're drooling, but go ahead.
Yeah, as a former teacher, Tina, like absolutely, because I was trained that if you are doing a unit or do not erase your board before the test. Do not change your bulletin boards. Do not move your desk around before bulletin boards. And you'll see kids, if you ever walk into, especially high school, and kids are taking a test, they'll be taking this, and then they stare off into space, or they're like, your brain takes over and goes back to when you learn that part. So yes, 100% that does work. So
it's probably also why I still get grossed out by 7-Up. I always got it when I had an upset stomach as a child, and I don't associate it with being sick.
Instead of Vernors?
Well, yeah, I didn't like Vernors as a child, so I was given 7-Up. Now I don't like 7-Up.
Yep. Lots of chat about people. Come back and read our chat. There's a lot of people talking about how they handle office hours. Awesome. It is very, very productive. All right. Our next one, which goes hand in hand with office hours, is number 3, have accountability.
Mm-hmm. Tina, why don't you talk about how much you love accountability?
Oh, yeah. I have to have accountability agreements in place before people can hold me accountable. Because if someone just comes and tries to hold me accountable for something that I didn't agree to in advance, I will totally, like the rebel from way back, in my ancestors, we won't talk about that, just comes out. And I'm like, no, you don't get to tell me that.
Well, in your defense, Tina, I would argue that that's not holding you accountable. That's being a butt-in-ski. If you haven't asked someone to hold you accountable, then they're just not minding their own business. So don't be that person either. If your friend hasn't asked you for accountability, maybe it's none of your business when their book will be out. Just saying.
Very, very true.
Mm-hmm.
Piper says, yes, the accountability is what makes me show up for Teresa's morning stream. Accountability is everyone's favorite thing. Okay. I don't know what she's asking.
Burners. She's asking about burners.
Oh,
What is that?
Verners. Vanera.
It's
I'm
a
like, I don't remember
Michigan
what I was talking
thing, Maria.
Yeah.
about. Oh, Verners.
It's
It's a
So,
ginger. It's a ginger pop.
Yeah.
ginger ale.
Soda, whatever.
Like
Soda.
non-alcoholic. I know that outside of the country, sometimes ale means, well, it means that here too, but ginger ale, and it is a pop, a soda, and it is only made in Michigan. Sometimes you can get it out of state, but not really, but it is the best ginger. I don't like ginger ale, but I will drink Vernors. And every child, especially in our generation, growing up in Michigan, when you're
Got it.
sick, have a Vernors.
Yep.
I always
Because
got warm Jello that wasn't solidified yet because we didn't have burners. I was in Alaska.
So I think the difference is, so you're getting a lot of agreements with you, Tina, that says, yes, Tina, I don't like being told what to do. Kristen says, me too, only certain people. I'm the same way, Tina. Yes, I think the difference is that an accountability partnership is different than someone telling you what to do, right? So when we so find people that you can be accountable with each other, and it grows as a relationship. I don't know that the very beginning of our writing group, if we could have been as accountable to each other as we are now. We have a relationship that we've built over time, and now it's like Jamie can like message me and say, "Are you coming?" Like, and we're fine with it, as opposed to someone else doing that to us, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Let me comment, Maria. The ginger beer they have in the Caribbean is the same thing that we have as Vernors in Michigan.
I agree. I gotta say, yes, we were holding Jason accountable. He didn't ask us to.
Okay, so that's different. We're allowed to hold Jason
Yeah,
accountable.
you're supposed to do what we say and not what we do. This
Jason,
is like
we're your writing moms. Yeah,
That's what
we're
I
your
was going to
writing moms.
say. It's a mom thing.
Okay, fine. I guess we shouldn't. Moving
yes,
on.
I'm accountable if he doesn't want it.
All right, so this next tip is specifically from me, but others will agree, but others will disagree. But I'm the one that came up with this. Is number 4 is work from an outline. Let the arguments ensue. So for me, when I am writing my best is when I have an outline that I can write from, and I have a game plan. Now, if you are a pantser, you might be saying, absolutely not. But even as a pantser, you have some sort of system that you use, that you keep to that system every single time, even if it is not like an outline. Okay, agree or disagree?
Well, that's. I was just going to go where you went, and I was going to say I'm not arguing. I'm just saying everybody has a process.
Right.
And just like you use the same music every time you write, you use the same process, and you will be more productive using that process.
Agreed.
And I have more to say about that when we get down to the one about using your strengths.
All
Well,
right.
I mean, and we're talking about productivity, which when I think of that, I think of it in a capitalistic term of producing more widgets, producing more items. If your goal is to produce more finished words, then working to an outline would probably get you more finished words.
Agreed. Jason says outlines are made to be broken. I agree with that too. Like, as I start writing, if something changes in my story, I change my outline. But it's just it's a roadmap. Doesn't mean I can't take a little detour. I do that all the time. So
Right.
I mean,
It's
just like
almost it's
just
almost
like
a guarantee. It's almost a guarantee of no writer's block that morning if you're following your outline or doing something with your outline.
it's like the business plan of your project.
good. That is very true. It is the business plan of your project. And you may be like, I don't want to do this.
And if your business plan is in your head, then probably your outline is too.
Yes, exactly. I agree with that. All right. Number 5, corral your social media.
Amen, sister.
Now,
All
when
right.
you corral something, that means you put fences around it to keep it where it's supposed to be. Is this what we're talking about? Tina, why don't you say, because you had an interesting way to do that.
Yeah, well, I just did this a few weeks ago with myself because it was a problem. And I was listening to Becca Syme again, and she was talking about open systems and closed systems, and it's all very technical. But basically, social media is an open-ended system where there's no end to it and you could just stay on there forever. And so to try to stop myself from going into those activities that are open-ended, I hid all of my social media bookmarks, ways to get into it, into folders in my browser. So I have to click the folder, and then I got to scroll down, and then I have to click another folder, and then I can access my social media, which makes it a lot hard. It's just not a simple click. And the stuff that I want to do first is not in a folder. I have it on my browser bookmark. My devotions that I do first thing in the morning is the only thing not in a folder on my desktop, on my bookmark bar. Also, if you're not using your phone for an alarm clock, I would suggest, if it's a problem for you, go buy another, like a standalone alarm clock. Don't just pick up your cell phone first thing in the morning before you even get out of bed and start scrolling Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever it is that keeps you in bed for an hour when you could have been up, eating your breakfast, getting dressed, getting to work.
All great suggestions. All right. Number 6, work from your strengths. For those of you that didn't see last week's episode, we're talking about Clifton strengths. And the test is free, right? And you can get your first 5 for free. No, it costs money. I did mine a long time ago. So, but totally worth it to find out what your strengths are. But Tina, what did you want to say about working from your strengths?
Well, I told you guys last week in my What's Next that I had an appointment with my friend who is a strengths coach to talk about my specific strengths and how I can work from them to get things done. And it was very interesting. And one of the things that we talked about with my struggles with my first book was my high context. So I have high context. And so she drew this box, and she talked about unconscious incompetence. And remember, I kept saying, I don't know what I don't know. Mm-hmm. And it was like holding me back. I every time I tried to move forward, there was something else I didn't know. And so then you move from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence. So now you're aware that you're incompetent, and then that was blocking me. So then you move into conscious competence. So now you know that you're competent, and you're aware that you're doing these things. And
Say
then you
competent one more time.
Okay, well,
I'm just kidding, but like
unconscious competence is like the riding the bicycle stuff.
Okay. What do you mean? Like you
don't have to think about it.
Okay.
You're competent at whatever it is you're doing, and you don't have to think about it, and it flows.
Got it.
So because I had never written a book before, I'm not talking about the writing process, like the actual writing. I'm talking about the process of writing a book.
Mm-hmm.
I had never done that before, so I didn't have any context, and my context wanted context. And so that was blocking me from moving forward because I felt like I needed that competence before I could move forward.
So it'll be a lot easier for you next time.
Right. That's what she's saying. And eventually, like 4th book down the line or whatever, it'll be unconscious. I'll be competent at it. It'll be unconscious, which is why people can write more books the further along. Like the first book takes forever, and then you get faster as you go. And so that's just a little example of how you can use a tool like Clifton Strengths to help you be successful.
So you're saying that particular strength was competence that you were talking about?
Context.
Context. Thanks.
All right. So there's been some chat going on that I want to get back to because our chat is always delayed for us, and I'm not really sure why. But Maria says, I find a difficult balance because on the one hand, I don't want to be on my phone, laptop all day. But on the other hand, social media is your main way of making connections with potential readers.
Can I address that real quick?
Yes, please.
I don't have any idea what Maria's situation is. I don't know, but I remember my early days of social media, which I'm doing very poorly with my personal social media. I do okay with Christian Indie. So whatever, take my advice and do whatever you want with it. When I was early on, I was very active on social media, but the more I scrutinized my activities, I was really participating in a lot of writing kind of activities and not really talking to any readers. Like it was really fun to go on, Writers Lift chat and answer the questions about my plot and my this and my that. But that was other writers who, no offense, they're not in the market to buy a book because they want to sell their own book. So I'm just kind of saying, just see if you really are spending the time reaching out to readers, or if that's some time you could be spending somewhere a little more profitable for you. And that's just, I'm speaking from my own experience.
And I'd like to add that, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I like to add, try to turn it into a closed system. I'm going to do my social media where I reach out to my readers between 1 and 3 in the afternoon, or 1 and 2, or however long you need to do it, and only do it during that time. And when the timer goes off, you have to be done.
And I'm just going to add on to that. That's basically what I was going to say, is that we talked about office hours is our number one. And then accountability, which she mentioned earlier that she had an accountability partner, but it's kind of fallen off. You need more than one. You need a group. So when one person can't be there, there's still that accountability that you need to show up because there's people expecting you. But it all goes back to office hours. If you get up in the morning or whatever time you do it and you put in your office hours, you don't feel bad about the rest of the day if you're checking social media, if you're doing this or doing that, because you've put your writing time in. So doing office hours and scheduling your day is going to be very, very helpful, I think, for everyone, especially with the whole social media component. So
can I just comment real quickly? I really love how our chatters help each other out.
I do.
You guys are great.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're on to number 7. Make a list before bed of to do for the next day.
Tina, stand down. This is mine. Okay.
What? So
all of
mean.
these things I use and they've been helpful. But the number one thing for me has been before I go to bed, my mind is still racing with all the things I didn't get done. So I make a list of everything, like the top 3 things I want to accomplish the next day. And then, some other notes about some other things I'd like to do too, if I get those first 3 things done. And my mom's phrase is eat the frog. She heard something somewhere about eating the frog. And basically you do your most unpleasant tasks first, and then it's out of the way. And then your guilt burden is taken away and you can move on to the more fun thing, because everything is going to be more fun than that one thing you started the day off with.
Is that why we're at the beginning of your day, Rhonda? Is that why your office hours are the first thing you do in the morning?
Yeah.
Frog? Yes.
Yep. You froggies. Anyway, that I, instead of laying in bed for an hour, 2020 took care of my social media. I do not scroll for an hour anymore like I used to before I get out of bed.
Yeah.
But a reason I used to do that is I didn't know what I was going to do with my day. So I was stalling.
Aimless. You were like aimless or whatever.
Yeah, I was procrastinating. But now that I have that list, I'm like, okay, this is what I need to do. I can get up right now and go do that. So that's it.
Love it.
All right. Our next one, which is going to be, I think, really close and similar to that one. So, and I'm sure that Rhonda has lots to say about this one. Number 8, keep a planner.
They were already chatting about that in the chat.
I know.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, my list goes right into my bujo. And on the days when I wake up and think, oh, that frog is going to be so gross, I look back and see the other days that I have had to deal with the same thing or eaten something worse. And I did it then. I can do it this morning.
Maybe you should tell everyone quickly what a bujo is, because they might not know.
Oh, well, okay. A bujo is a nickname for a bullet journal. And what it is, it's it can be anything you want. Right now, I have this notebook right here. This is all I'm using because I didn't bring my actual, I was coming down on January 1st, so I was starting New Year anyway, and I hadn't bought one yet. So I'm just using a notebook. And I just have lists on every page or notes, or I carry it in my purse with me. And if I have an idea for a clever line for the book, I've got a page that I write all those down on. I've got book title ideas on a page. I've got my daily list that I...
So it's bulleted lists. That's where the name comes from, correct?
Yeah. But they don't have to be bulleted. They can be whatever you want. They can be stickers.
Hearts.
I use a happy planner with for my career as well as for like the rest of my life in homeschooling. And I've been training my girls. I got them the smaller version. I use a big one. And to get them excited about it, I bought all like the bunch of stickers and washi tape and all this fun stuff. And it helps me. Like during our homeschooling day, like we hit our planners at one point, and I think it's our favorite time of day because like they pull out stickers and we're chatting as we do it.
Oh,
And like, yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun. So you make your planner something you want to visit every day and you'll be in it and you'll use it. That's my tip. Okay, number 9, trick or treat yourself.
Yeah,
Jamie.
that was mine because sometimes I need to trick myself into doing what I'm supposed to do, eating that frog. And sometimes I need to treat myself or give myself a reward for eating that frog. So, whichever one is going to work for you to actually get the job done. So, for example, you could trick yourself by saying, well, I'm only going to write for 5 minutes because you know that once you start writing, you're going to write for a lot longer. Or you could trick yourself by doing those things Tina was talking about, hiding those icons that lure you from your desktop or something like that. And then, of course, we all know what treat yourself is. You can
Snickers.
get a pedicure. Yeah, you all know. Everybody, something pops to your head that can be, well, because I did. It's my cookie. It's my Scooby snack. Did you go outside? And then, you get the little treat. It works for human behavior just like it works for animal behavior. You behave well, you perform well if you know you're going to get a goodie. So trick yourself and treat yourself.
Love that. All right. And number 10, download and use project management software.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a new thing for me, based on what Rhonda and Tina were telling us. So why don't you guys tell us all about this?
I also want to take this and use it to answer Piper's comment where she said if you've ever taken the Myers-Briggs test and are a P, you might do better with a wall calendar. I am a P and I'm very visual. And so I turned my background of my desk, my laptop, into a calendar corkboard, whiteboard thing. And I have all these folders I turned into icons of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also downloaded this project management software, which is very visual. You put your to-do cards on the screen and you can put pictures. Like you can just bling it up however you want. And it's like a drag and drop system. I have a to-do list, I have a doing list, a done list, and I can drag and drop the cards, and it's really pretty, and it really just feeds my need for that visual thing. It's kind of my to-do list and my Bujo wrapped up into a visual like thing that's on my desktop all the time.
That sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing around with ClickUp, which is one, but I'm still playing around. So if you guys end up being into one that you're really into before I'm too enmeshed, I would migrate over. But that's one. What's the other names of these that we're talking about so people can?
The one that Tina has on her desktop is really similar to Trello, which is an online one.
Can you spell that?
That is what I have, Trello.
Oh, okay. Trello. But I use ClickUp, which is similar to Trello, but for my personality, it's simpler to use. Or it's more along the lines of the way my brain thinks. And not only that, you can set it up to the way your brain thinks, but it's already naturally like that for me. And also there are more features in ClickUp for free that in Trello you would have to upgrade to use. So that's what brought me over to it in the first place. But I highly recommend checking it out. There are so many tutorial videos about it.
And the cool thing is next week we are going to on the podcast address this specifically. Next week's podcast is all about comparing project management software. And so we're going to be playing around with it for the next week and come back with you guys with some opinions. So if you would like to go ahead and look at those two, Trello and ClickUp, that's what we're going to be talking about next week.
And bring your boxing gloves, Rhonda.
All right. Okay.
All right. So that's our top 10, but we do have a bonus that Tina had come up with. Bonus number 11 was Tina.
Oh my gosh. Let me
Okay. No,
you go ahead because I don't have.
Don't we all have our outlines ready?
It is, but it got hidden underneath something else.
Tina said when we were playing this, she's like, a bonus number 11 has to be have an awesome team. And I agree. Like working with these three ladies makes it all worthwhile and makes it so much easier. And so if you can find a group of people that you can be accountable to and that you can work with, it'll make life so much easier for you. That doesn't mean we always get along. It doesn't mean that we always are on the same page. It just means that we care enough about each other to keep coming back and keep each other accountable. So
we keep the communication going. And so even when there is conflicts or whatever, we can talk about it and we can resolve it.
Agreed. All right. So that's our top 10 tips for productivity for writers. We hope you guys got something out of it. Again, if you're listening to this and you have not migrated over to YouTube to check out our chat, do so with this episode because there's a lot of great suggestions and a lot of chatter going on there. We really appreciate our chatters. All right. So now it is the next segment of our show that we call the feeding of the backs. This is where we have our feedback time. Before the episode begins, every single week, we have a prompt that we put out on social media for everybody to do. But we as well don't do the prompt until right before the show. We spend 15 minutes writing and we don't edit. We don't look at it again. We just write it and then we're done and we share it here live, raw, unedited. And this is a time of feedback, but it's not criticism. This is only positive feedback. So I'm going to have Tina go first today. Tina, I'd like to hear what you wrote today.
Okay. My brain went into long game mode when I started writing this. So it is not a complete story. So just warning you. The words are originate, exhibit, supervise, interview, and overlook. This exhibit originated in London at the Petrie Museum until a few years ago when the decision was made to take it on the road. My name is Sarah McGivens, and it's my job to overlook the mobile aspect of the King Tut display. Sarah looked around the room at the sea of young faces. Several of the students leaned forward on the table, obviously excited and not wanting to miss a word. Those were her favorite types. She made a mental note of who they were. They would be the perfect candidates to supervise some of their fellow students. Most of the students were alert, but not eager. Here because it was required for their archaeology studies. They would do what needs to be done, but might not be as passionate about it as the first group. We will break into groups, she continued. Each group will be assigned to a specific collection within the exhibit and be given corresponding assignments. You will be graded both by your individual contributions and as a group as well. Sarah's eyes moved to the students in the back. These were the ones most likely to check out or even drop out. They slouched in their chairs. One boy, with an athlete's physique and longish blonde hair, had his legs crossed at the ankles, his arms across his chest, his head back, mouth open, and was actively snoring. Next to him, a slight girl with glasses and a head full of braids sat, wrapped in an actual blanket, with a cup of coffee in her hands. When she noticed Sarah was looking in their direction, she nudged the snoring boy with her elbow. He suddenly sat straight up, eyes wide, looking in every direction. Sarah turned to the board, trying to keep from laughing, and began to write out instructions for forming groups. Excuse me, Ms. McGivens, can we request which collection we are assigned to? I plan to write my dissertation on mummies, and it would be incredible to study one here. I'm sorry, we have a process that we will stick to. It's the only way to be fair. The girl's shoulders sank, but she nodded in agreement. What about the curse? It was the snoring boy. All the students turned to stare at him, eager to hear more. Sarah had worried this might come up, but she never expected to be someone like Snoring Boy to do it. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, that's all we get. We don't get to know about the curse. I'm not complaining. It's great.
Well, this is like a novel kind of story. This is not.
You warned us.
So do you think that it's going to turn into something long, like really something longer, like a novel? Like you're getting
It
like...
could. It really could, because I spent a lot of time I spent a week in Egypt, but I spent a lot of time reading about Egypt, and because I just absolutely loved it. So
that's awesome.
And the curse of King Tut is a real thing.
Like
I don't mean the curse itself is real.
Okay.
I mean, if you look up the curse of King Tut, there is a lot of stuff out there.
I was like,
I didn't just make up a
and a
curse.
conspiracy theory? What?
That was good, Tina.
The descriptions were great. I really loved how you spent so much time on the boy.
Yeah. Yeah, your descriptions were really fabulous in this. I really enjoyed that.
Agreed. Excuse me.
All right, I'm going to go next so that I can just get out of the way, to be honest. So, okay. Tina, you read the words off, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right.
They were so spectacular that we forgot them.
Yes. Again, blame Tina. Tina, actually, we should blame her this time because she actually requested verbs, which makes it so much harder. 5 verbs.
We tricked her.
I just have to mix it up sometimes.
Okay. Here we go. Where did you look? Where did see? It's unedited. Where did your love for writing originate? Jamie squinted hard, trying to read the reporter's lips as he spoke. The clanging of the hammers and goodness knows what other tools banging in the next door office, making it near impossible to hear the soft-spoken man. I'm sorry, where did my love for writing what? Originate. Do 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 do. Jamie cringed as the Muppet Show earworm from her youth began playing loudly in her mind's boombox. She tried to tune it out. I don't know. It's hard to remember when I began to exhibit it. Exhibit what? Do 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 do. I'm sorry, she said, her palms beginning to sweat. With all this background noise, it's really difficult to do this interview. Do 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 do.
This interview. Do, do, do.
I know it's been like this for weeks. I've tried to overlook. Do 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 do. But I can't seem to find the person who supervises the operation. Maybe we can try another room. Do 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 do. It was useless.
It's so true.
Wow.
It's exactly. Also, thank you. Maria said, God bless you when I sneezed. No, it was Piper. But that's hilarious. That's how it works, too. And the person's talking to me, and I'm like, you don't even understand that there's a tab open. All your words to music right now.
Right.
The boombox of Jamie's mind.
Yes,
Great.
which is a legit thing in this world. For those of you that don't know, do 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 mana do 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 was a Muppet Show thing, and in our generation, and so often someone will say something, and mostly Jamie, sometimes myself, will go do 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 because it fits mana. So anyway,
it's great,
and that happened right before we started, and so that was my inspiration.
Yay!
So, yeah. There you go, Jamie.
I love it.
All right, Rhonda, let's hear yours next.
Okay. Maria, I don't know if this will help you, but right now in Eastern time, it is 10:47. So, okay. Mine is right here.
Oh, Shell says,
not a complete story.
I'm sorry. Shell says, ha ha ha, Jen. So Shell must, he knows
really
that.
Good. Yes, Jen, it was great. Like, I realized I gave you no feedback other than singing. It was really awesome.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. All right. The
Sorry.
fam knows.
It's a fam thing.
All right. Sorry, Rhonda. Go ahead.
Okay. No, it's fine, really. Okay. Lorene led me down the narrow passageway of the old church, the one that leads to the overlook at the river. It reminded me of the old church I grew up in. I jotted, where did congregational church floor plans originate? Instead of heading toward the river, though, she put her hand on the doorknob on the left side of the landing. This is our curation office. The corners of her mouth twitched and jumped like an exhibit of Mexican jumping beans. I think you'll find what you're looking for in here. The dim, warm light of the passageway gave way to the explosion of brightness as the door swung open. Something took my breath away, but whether it was the shock from the extreme change in scenery or the sudden awareness that I knew nothing, I'll never know. I reached out to steady myself. And
wonderful use of those words.
I was creating sentences to put those words into.
Been there, done that. That was good, Rhonda. Yeah.
I liked it, Rhonda, because you created good sentences and then they all matched to make a story. Mission accomplished. That's the point of this exercise, isn't it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of mission, I don't wait for Jamie to come back. Jamie, it is your turn to share with us.
Okay. Mine is suspiciously like Rhonda's. I think both of us are like, what are we going to do with these words? Anyway, there wasn't anyone around. Paul took a brochure from a nearby exhibit and leafed through it absently, his mind rehearsing the conversation as it had consistently since the appointment had been made. The tricky thing about an interview, you can never really figure the other guy's angle until he tosses a question at you. And that's what Paul was facing now. The interview of a lifetime, the chance to supervise a crew of 7 men. They're a bunch of fools if they overlook you, Sarah had said, sending him off with a kiss and a sack lunch. He wished he could be as certain as she was. Mr. Miller. It was worse than Paul had anticipated. The lanky blonde with a severely slicked back top knot strode toward him, brandishing an ink pen and wielding a clipboard. Her smile was non-existent, but what could Paul expect? This was the big leagues, after all. He followed the slender rectangular suit down a long corridor, past several closed doors. After 2 rights and a left, the blonde pushed into a room filled with smoking, loose-tied, gregarious louts. "Gentlemen," she said, "he's here." Aha! Paul had not noticed the toad-like man on the cushion in the front of the room. "Bring him forward." Bring him forward? Is this a joke? But the blonde complied, and Paul's feet moved him step by step closer to the squat and portly man. Paul's throat gave a mechanical click as he swallowed, his mind flying through all he'd read about this company and the strange corporate culture that was the stuff of late-night barroom rumors. Paul had always laughed it off. After all, how much credit can you give a theory whose origins consist of a handful of scrawled epitaphs over a dirty factory urinal? But if the rumors were true, there he was, about to witness, no, to take part in, his own personal nightmare. Paul took a deep breath. "For you, Sarah," he said. The end.
Oh my gosh.
Can you repeat the line about the louts?
No.
Because it went by too fast and it was wonderful.
All right. After 2 rights and a left, the blonde pushed into a room filled with smoking, loose-tied, gregarious louts.
I love that line.
I love the toad-like man because instantly I could see him. Instantly. Like, very good. I feel like I need to hear the whole
Rhonda,
thing
you're
again.
I was just saying that the loose tide to that description just exploded it open for me. I just saw the whole room. Just
Well,
that one
thanks.
little phrase.
And like gregarious louts in the same.
Mhm.
You're like, you just know these people already.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jen, go ahead.
No, that's all. It's just very good. Like I
Yeah,
want
you
to
got to
listen to
hear
the whole
it
thing
again,
again.
so because it was so rich.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Appreciate that.
Great imagery. Piper says, "Ew, dirty factory urinal." Yeah, that one there, along with what the other one that you said, squat and portly. Those are like, yeah, definitely images. Like,
Thanks. I appreciate
okay.
that.
All right, great. Well, this is our last segment that we do every week here on the podcast, and it is our What's Next. It's where we are going to share what's coming up next in our business lives and what we have coming up for the coming week. So let's go backwards, and we're going to start with you, Jamie. What's your What's Next?
All right. Well, my what's next is I'm continuing to migrate some content from my website that I had reverted to drafts because it doesn't fit on writing shorts anymore. It's my personal bloggy post type of stuff. So I'm migrating all of that over to Buy Me a Coffee. So don't forget, if you come over to buymeacoffee.com/JRNichols, you can read my work on there. I'm charging less for it than Amazon would, even though they're PDF copies. They're not Mobies or whatever. But hey, it's a way to get your hands on my books at a discount and support my work. Again, it's buymeacoffee.com/JRNichols. I really appreciate any support. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. All right. How about you, Tina?
Well, 2 things. I am going to work on working my productivity hacks that I put into place and getting them running like a well-oiled machine. That's my goal. And also, I sort of revived my Patreon page. It never really went anywhere. I just hadn't been doing anything with it. And I wanted to see how the merchandise thing worked from start to finish. So I created a $25 level with 4 different kinds of merchandise. You get like one thing every 3 months. And I don't expect anyone's probably going to sign up to it, but I just wanted to see what the process was and learn that. And then I also took this course on Facebook groups, and it was all about like effective posts and stuff like that. So I think I might use that stuff I learned about Facebook groups and apply it to my Patreon and just see what happens. Experiment.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my What's Next is a book cover. I'm going to do the blurb this week. Book cover. I've already have a rough draft for the book cover, but I didn't purchase the images yet. So
when is the reveal? Like, are you going to set up a tease for your newsletter people and stuff like that to where they're looking forward to a sneak peek or something?
Yeah, but not for a while. Like my my whole plan is to get a physical copy to the copy editor and have that all done way in advance so that I can fully focus on that. Still working on the contemporary. I've been doing that during the sprints, and it was a hot mess. Like, as far as like, I find him doing this and this, and then I went back. Oh, here's the good thing. I told everybody who was in the sprint. I all of a sudden remembered, wait, I wrote a scene that I can't find. All those sprints during November and December when I wrote in this world, I had not brought them on over to the actual document. So like, I have a lot more than I thought. And like, I remembered that I wanted to do something that I forgot, and I had to fix my outline. So anyways, super exciting. And I'm super happy about that. So
and I just want to remind everyone, if you're free on Tuesdays at 9, Jen and I are going to be talking about our newsletter. So if you're like, ooh, a book cover strategy launch in your newsletter, what would that be like? Well, come on Tuesday and ask us to remember to talk about that then. And we'll answer any of your newsletter questions Tuesday at 9 on our Facebook page. Right, Jen?
Yes.
Newsletter chat.
All right. Jason says, and what's next? Try to establish office hours. And my goal is to finish 5 chapters this week. That's a huge goal. That's awesome.
You can do it, Jason. Yep. He gets those words out.
Kristen says, what's next? Start writing.
Oh, you can too.
You can. Just got to start. All right, Rhonda, what's next?
Okay. My what's next is Mom and I are wrapping up our medium draft of our novella. And so I'm working on editing and putting that all together, compiling it and all that. But also I'm putting a lot of focus on our blog. I'm working on doing a funnel page and that sort of thing. I really hate marketing, but I am doing it. Using my strengths, right?
Good for you,
Exactly.
Rhonda.
Good for you, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Teresa says, and what's next? Rewrite. Yeah. Shell says her what's next is more work on the fab short romance. Ooh, I like short romances. That's awesome. And Maria says her what's next is continue proofreading, writing, and editing. Start thinking about February's edition for my newsletter. That's awesome. All right, ladies, anything else to add?
No, it's been great, except it's been great to hang out with everybody today. Very busy chat.
It's been a lot of fun. We really appreciate y'all for being here. But until next week, this concludes the Christian Indie Writers Podcast. So until next week, may your pen be prolific, may your deadlines be met, and may all of your words honor Christ. Bye now.
Bye.